For the first time ever I saw a thin, hollowed-eyed stranger with a thick, unkempt beard full of gray. Thinking back at that moment, I couldn't remember the last time I had a real meal. I lost at least 30 pounds since Amanda left and honestly looked so close to death it scared me. I became so mad then at how I had been used and betrayed I did something totally out of character for me. I punched the mirror with my fist. The glass shattered all over the sink. My right hand was badly cut with blood going everywhere. It took a visit to the emergency room and a few stitches to finally clear my head. I still had enough time afterwards to get cleaned up and go to Robert's office. Robert looked on with some concern as I signed the divorce papers in his firm's conference room. Who would have thought that a hardened divorce attorney who had gone through his own marital nightmare could still have empathy for a stupid client who still loved his errant wife? "Well, Bruce, you are officially divorced," Robert said in a way that was supposed to bring me some relief. "Yay me," I said with spite. "Bruce," he said, standing up, bringing an end to our meeting. "I know this sucks, but I've got to say you came away from this divorce mostly unscathed. Losing just $65,000 in the settlement, given your shared wealth, is a win in anyone's book. With this state's divorce laws, I've known cheating wives that have taken almost everything from their former husbands." I stayed silent, taking no comfort in Robert's words as I stood up to shake his hand and leave. It was then that I caught sight of the pretty paralegal entering the room, a blonde somewhere in her 20s looking at me visibly overwhelmed with pity. A more dynamic and smarter version of me probably could have milked her emotions for a rebound pity fuck. But in truth, that talent for me never existed. I was clearly no Mike Jericho. Having Jericho take my wife and live rent-free in my head was almost too much to bear. I walked out to my car wondering just what in the hell I would do now. My wife and kids held all the meaning in my life. The kids were grown and out on their own, so Amanda had become my purpose. I fucking cried after getting in the car, totally oblivious if anyone saw me break down. At some point, I guess a self-preservation instinct kicked in and I regained my composure. It was the last time I cried over Amanda. A couple of weeks later, I'm back at work trying to rebuild my life. I think the worst thing was the looks that the others gave me. There were several variations. I was mostly looked at with deep pity. But there were a few looks of suspicion with some whispering there had to be a reason why Amanda threw away what on the surface looked like a perfect marriage. The real hell for me was when I returned to the house we shared. Amanda's ghost was everywhere given all the time and effort she had done to create what for her was the perfect home. It was so overwhelming I had dreams each night of her returning to me begging for forgiveness. It was obvious what my next move would be. Just a few days later, a moving van rented by a used furniture dealer backed into the driveway. I sold him, at a bargain price just to spite Amanda's metaphorical ghost, almost every item in the house that wasn't bolted down. When he and his workers left, there was only a bed for me, the large screen television, the basic kitchen appliances, a couch, and my recliner. The house was so empty, any sound echoed through it like a cave. I wasn't done yet. Even when the kids were living with us, Amanda's creation was insanely too large for a family of 4. I had no intention of living in it alone any longer than I had to. I called a real estate agent the next day. A few weeks later, I found a nice patio home for sale and snapped it up immediately. The big house was also listed at a bargain price and bought by a family with 4 young kids. Seeing the wonder in the eyes of the mom and dad as they walked through the empty rooms of their new home brought me my first joy in months. A little over 4 months had passed since Amanda destroyed my world, and I was developing a new normal for my life. Especially heartening was that both Sally and Kevin had, in no uncertain terms, cut their mother out of their lives. Apparently, Amanda and Jericho went on a 2-week-long cruise after arriving in California, and she didn't try to contact the kids until well after it was over. It was a little after the 6-month point of Amanda leaving that I got a phone call from an unknown number. It was late in the day, and I had just cooked a frozen pizza and popped the top on a beer when the phone buzzed. I declined the call and went back to the movie I was watching. At some point, it occurred to me to look up the area code, and I laughed when I learned it was the one from the San Francisco area. I figured it was probably from a telemarketer, but I found it comforting how much I didn't care one way or the other if it was Amanda trying to make contact. It was the 8-month mark when everything blew up. I got a call from Amanda's sister, correctly named Karen because she was 1. informing me that Amanda had tried to contact me. I instantly thought back to the unknown call from the San Francisco area. "Well, Karen," I said, "I'll take your word for it, but I haven't received any call from her. And frankly, our marriage ended on really bad terms, so I don't have any desire to talk with her. Plus, according to your sister's own words, Mike Jericho is her true soulmate. If it involves the kids, whatever relationship she can rebuild with them is on her. Not only will I not help my ex-wife with anything, I really don't know if I would piss on Amanda if I saw her on fire. Karen and I only tolerated each other at the best of times, so not surprisingly she hung up without saying another word. Though, I couldn't help but ponder what might have gone wrong between Amanda and Jericho. If Amanda had run head first into some form of reality with her lover, she was going to be in a world of trouble for someone to save her. My former father-in-law and mother-in-law were dead, and Amanda's sister and her husband were taking care of his aging parents. And even if Sally and Kevin were speaking to their mother, neither had any way for her to live with them. Oh well, I thought to myself as I took a sip of my beer, Amanda should have $65,000 to cushion any return to the real world. I did realize that I hadn't mentioned to Karen that I had sold the house and everything in it. It was a month later when the final shoe dropped. I was sitting in the office I shared with another engineer when the phone on my desk rang. "Hello, this is Bruce Evans. Can I help you?" I said, not paying attention to the number on the screen. "Yes, Mr. Evans," a female said. "I'm Dr. Sylvia Altman calling from Sacramento Regional Hospital, and I need to inform you that your wife, Amanda Evans, is my patient. She was in a car accident a couple of weeks ago and has just regained consciousness. Her Illinois driver's license records have you listed as her next of kin."